Yo, chào Minh Phạm nhá. Ơi, kiểu tôi không nói là tôi đang thực sự lười lười trong việc cosplay mết đâu. Kiểu như tôi làm được và tôi cũng nghĩ về tôi cũng chuẩn bị các thứ thứ rồi ấy. Chỉ là fuck, tôi vừa có vấn đề với cinematography vậy. Thực sự là cái quay phim nó là cái gì khó khăn ấy. Cho nên là để mà có cái footage cho nó thực sự kiểu được với mọi người cho mọi người xem ấy, nó khá là khó khăn. Cho nên là hay hay nó có cỡ tan tan. Hai chat mọi người biến mất nhanh vậy. Ờ, sao bắt đầu tôi nhỉ, lời quá.
Section 1. You will hear a conversation between the director of a child care centre and a parent enrolling her child in the centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6.
Stress đường gì đấy, ok. Monday cái gì đấy, start time, candidate a childcare, the group, which meals are required each day, lunch, dinner.
You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning. Welcome to the Early Learning Childcare Centre. How may I help you?
Hi, I spoke to you last week about enrolling my daughter for next year.
Oh, yes. I'll just get some details from you. So, you're her mother,
That's right.
and can I have your name?
It's Carol Smith.
The parent's name is Carol Smith, so Smith has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
아이씨. chào cha.
Good morning. Welcome to the Early Learning Childcare Centre. How may I help you?
Hi, I spoke to you last week about enrolling my daughter for next year.
Oh, yes. I'll just get some details from you. So, you're her mother,
That's right.
and can I have your name?
It's Carol Smith.
And your daughter's name.
It's Kate.
Now, we have several groups at the centre and we cater for children from 3 to 5 years old. How old is your daughter?
She's 3 now, but she turns 4 next month.
I'll put 4 down because that's how old she'll be when she starts.
Fine. She's so excited about her birthday and coming to the centre.
Oh, that's good to hear. And what's your address?
It's 46 Wombat Road. That's WOMBAT. Woodside 4032.
And what's the phone number?
Oh, it's 3345 9865.
So, have you decided on the days you would like to bring your daughter here?
I'd prefer Monday and Wednesday if possible.
I'll check. Monday's fine, but I think the centre is already full for Wednesday. Yes. Sorry, it seems to be a very popular day. We can offer you a Thursday or a Friday as well.
Oh dear. I suppose Thursday would be all right because she has swimming on Friday.
Okay, got that. Because a lot of parents work, we do offer flexible start and finish times. We're open from 7:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. What time would you like your daughter to start?
I need to get to work in the city by 9, so I'll drop her off at 8:30. You're pretty close to the city here, so that should give me plenty of time to get there.
That's fine. Now, we also need to decide which group she'll be in. We have 2 different groups and they're divided up according to age. There's the green group, which is for 3 to 4-year-olds, and then there's the red group, which is for 4 to 5-year-olds.
She's quite mature for her age and she can already write her name and read a little.
Well, I'll put her in the red group and we can always change her to the green one if there are any problems.
That sounds fine.
Okay, let's move on to meals. We can provide breakfast, lunch and dinner. As she's finishing pretty early, she won't need dinner. Will you give her breakfast before she comes?
Yes, she'll only need lunch.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Now, does she have any medical conditions we need to know about? Does she have asthma or any hearing problems, for example?
No, but she does need to wear glasses.
Oh, I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, she's pretty good about wearing them. She can't see much without them.
Right. Okay. Now, I also need emergency contact details.
So what sort of information do you need?
Just the name and number of a friend or family member we can contact in case we can't get hold of you at any time.
Okay. That'd better be my sister, Jenny Ball. That's BALL. Her phone number is 33467523.
Great. So, she is the child's aunt?
Yes, that's right.
I'll make a note of that as well. Now, is there anything you'd like to ask?
What about payment? How much are the fees each term?
Well, for 2 days and the hours you've chosen, that will be $450 altogether.
Okay, yes, that's right.
I'll make a note of that as well. Now, is there anything you'd like to ask?
What about payment?
Contact in case we can't get hold of you at any time.
Okay, that'd better be my sister, Jenny Ball.
Uh-huh.
That's Ball. Her phone number is 33467523.
Great. So she is the child's aunt?
Yes, that's right.
I'll make a note of that as well. Now, is there anything you'd like to ask?
What about payment? How much are the fees each term?
Well, for 2 days and the hours you've chosen, that will be $450 altogether.
Okay, and do I have to pay that now?
No, we send out invoices once the children start at the centre. You can choose to pay at the end of each term, or we do offer a slightly discounted rate if you pay every month.
Oh, I'll do that then. I find it easier to budget that way, and I'm not used to the term dates just yet.
Good. It makes it a lot simpler for us as well. Well, that's everything. Would you like me to show you around the centre?
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a woman called Alice Bustle talking on the radio about the Dolphin Conservation Trust, an organization which tries to protect dolphins. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Osh.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Today we're pleased to have on the show Alice Bustle from the Dolphin Conservation Trust. Tell us about the trust, Alice.
Well, obviously its purpose is to protect dolphins in seas all around the world. It tries to raise people's awareness of the problems these marine creatures are suffering because of pollution and other threats. It started 10 years ago, and it's one of the fastest growing animal charities in the country, although it's still fairly small compared with the big players in animal protection. We're particularly proud of the work we do in education. Last year, we visited a huge number of schools in different parts of the country, going round to talk to children and young people aged from 5 to 18. In fact, about 35% of our members are children.
Oh.
The charity uses its money to support campaigns, for example, for changes in fishing policy and so forth. It hopes soon to be able to employ its first full-time biologist with dolphin expertise to monitor populations. Of course, many people give their services on a voluntary basis, and we now have volunteers working in observation, office work, and other things. I should also tell you about the award we won from the Charity Commission last year for our work in education. Although it's not meant an enormous amount of money for us, it has made our activities even more widely publicised and understood. In the long term, it may not bring in extra members, but we're hoping it'll have this effect.
Is it possible to see dolphins in UK waters?
Yes, in several locations. And we have a big project in the east part of Scotland. This has long been a haven for dolphins because it has very little shipping. However, that may be about to change soon because oil companies want to increase exploration there. We're campaigning against this because although there'll be little pollution from oil, exploration creates a lot of underwater noise. It means the dolphins can't rest and socialise. This is how I became interested in dolphin conservation in the first place. I had never seen one, and I hadn't been particularly interested in them at school. Then I came across this story about a family of dolphins who had to leave their home in the Moray Firth because of the oil companies, and about a child who campaigned to save them. I couldn't put the book down. I was hooked.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
I'm sure our listeners will want to find out what they can do to help. You mentioned the Adopt a Dolphin scheme. Can you tell us about that?
Of course. People can choose one of our dolphins to sponsor. They receive a picture of it and news updates. I'd like to tell you about 4 which are currently being adopted by our members: Moondancer, Echo, Kiwi and Samson. Unfortunately, Echo is being rather elusive this year and hasn't yet been sighted by our observers, but we remain optimistic that he'll be out there soon. All the others have been out in force. Samson and Moondancer are often photographed together, but it's Kiwi who's our real character, as she seems to love coming up close for the cameras, and we've captured her on film hundreds of times. They all have their own personalities. Moondancer is very elegant and curves out and into the water very smoothly, whereas Samson has a lot of energy. He's always leaping out of the water with great vigour. You'd probably expect him to be the youngest. He's not quite. That's Kiwi. But Samson's the latest of our dolphins to be chosen for the scheme. Kiwi makes a lot of noise, so we can often pick her out straight away. Echo and Moondancer are noisy too, but Moondancer's easy to find because she has a particularly large fin on her back, which makes her easy to identify.
Section 3. You will hear a student called Rob, who is in the first year of a theatre studies course, talking to...
So, Hanabi. À, không có ai thuộc kênh chat rồi. Ờm, Áo. Itu. Bởi vì anh không biết là free phần 2 không ý. Tôi thấy kiểu này hay quá nhưng mà chẳng lẽ đã có phần 2 thì buồn không? Theo là điều từ
To another student called Mia, who's in the 4th year of the same course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
prepare to
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Rob. How's the course going?
Oh, hi, Mia. Yeah, great. I can't believe the first term's nearly over.
I saw your group's performance last night at the student theatre. It was good.
Really? Yeah, but now we have to write a report on the whole thing, an in-depth analysis. I don't know where to start. Like, I have to write about the role I played, the doctor, how I developed the character.
Well, what was your starting point?
My grandfather was a doctor before he retired, and I just based it on him.
Okay, but how? Did you talk to him about it?
He must have all sorts of stories, but he never says much about his work, even now. He has a sort of authority, though.
So, how did you manage to capture that?
I'd visualize what he must have been like in the past when he was sitting in his consulting room, listening to his patients.
Okay, so that's what you explain in your report.
Right.
Then there's the issue of atmosphere. So, in the first scene, you needed to know how boring life was in the doctor's village in the 1950s. So, when the curtain went up on the first scene in the waiting room, there was that long silence before anyone spoke. And then people kept saying the same thing over and over, like, cold, isn't it?
Yes, and everyone wore grey and brown and just sat in a row.
Yes, all those details of the production.
And I have to analyse how I functioned in the group, what I found out about myself. I know I was so frustrated at times when we couldn't agree.
Yes. So did one person emerge as the leader?
Sophia did. That was okay. She helped us work out exactly what to do for the production, and that made me feel better, I suppose.
When you understood what needed doing?
Yes, and Sophia did some research too. That was useful in developing our approach.
Like what?
Well, she found these articles from the 1950s about how relationships between children and their parents, or between the public and people like bank managers or the police, were shifting.
Interesting. And did you have any practical problems to overcome?
Well, in the final rehearsal, everything was going fine until the last scene. That's where the doctor's first patient appears on stage on his own.
The one in the wheelchair?
Yes, and he had this really long speech with the stage all dark except for one spotlight. And then that stuck somehow, so it was shining on the wrong side of the stage. But anyway, we got that fixed, thank goodness.
Yes, it was fine on the night.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
fuck, tôi từ bỏ cái trò ấy đấy thì này khó chịu không? Yon sang.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
But while you're here, Mia, I wanted to ask you about the year abroad option. Would you recommend doing that?
Yes, definitely. It's a fantastic chance to study in another country for a year.
I think I'd like to do it, but it looks very competitive. There's only a limited number of places.
Yes. So, next year, when you're in the second year of the course, you need to work really hard in all your theatre studies modules. Only students with good marks get places. You have to prove that you know your subject really well.
Right. So, how did you choose where to go?
Well, I decided I wanted a program that would fit in with what I wanted to do after I graduate. So I looked for a university with emphasis on acting rather than directing, for example. It depends on you. Then about 6 months before you go, you have to email the scheme coordinator with your top 3 choices. I had a friend who missed the deadline and didn't get her first choice, so you do need to get a move on at that stage. You'll find that certain places are very popular with everyone.
And don't you have to write a personal statement at that stage?
Yes.
Right. I'll get some of the final year students to give me some tips. Maybe see if I can read what they wrote.
I think that's a very good idea. I don't mind showing you what I did. And while you're abroad, don't make the mistake I made. I got so involved I forgot all about making arrangements for when I came back here for the final year. Make sure you stay in touch so they know your choices for the optional modules. You don't want to miss out doing your preferred specialisms.
Right.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
The fuck is that? Trời ơi. Fucking Weibo. Tải thôi rồi đấy.
An alpha is forward, an alpha is right, an alpha is never afraid of a fight. They don't ask politely, they kick down the door and show up who's boss with a roar. Be an alpha, be an alpha.
Now turn to section 4.
Tall and proud. It doesn't matter if you're right, it matters that you're loud, so be an alpha.
The fuck is this? Bạn tôi gửi tôi điều gì đây? Fucking chat. Không có ai trong chat hết vậy. Đâu có ai đấy kiểu vừa ấn like biến mất luôn. Nghe tệ vậy. Ồ. Giờ mở mấy cái short này, cái reels sợ nhưng có cái đoạn làm bản quyền ấy. Thor cover like not like a Kendrick Lamar. Gì đây?
Narcoleptic.
Wait, are you? You're the leak?
Did he just talk?
Oh, fuck. Hit me fly.
Eat a flying dick, monkey.
That kid has a
Lady, you coming tonight. Tô thật tệ quá. Deadpool and Wolverine này sắp ra mắt rồi nhưng mà tôi nghĩ tôi đéo xem đâu, kiểu
As you already know, the only thing that's stopping you from living your dream life is you. So I'm going to show you how to get out of your own way and stop all those doubts about what you want to manifest. So whenever you get those limiting beliefs, I want you to imagine two versions of yourself. One version. Imagine there's a version of you that has already manifested your goal. And imagine there's another version of you that's in disbelief about being able to manifest that goal. Whenever you have a self-doubt, I want you to imagine these two versions fighting like you're watching an action movie. This is energetically fighting those disbeliefs. For a more vivid experience, visit the link in my bio for my reality shift guided meditation. As you already know.
bao giờ phút
Yo, vốn này mình sẽ cho anh em
xem một lối chơi Chitana cực hiệu quả, đó chính là sự kết hợp của rút kiếm ra và lắp kính nhắm. Về cơ bản thì Chitana là một vị tướng xạ thủ có tầm bắn cơ bản cực kỳ xa. Chính nhờ vào việc có tầm bắn cơ bản tốt nên Chit hưởng lợi rất là nhiều từ chỉ số của rút kiếm ra. Thêm một điều hay nữa của rút kiếm ra đó chính là rút kiếm ra biến Chit của chúng ta trở thành một vị tướng tay ngắn. Mà một vị tướng tay ngắn thì lại sử dụng rất tốt các lõi lắp kính nhắm, bởi vì lắp kính nhắm sẽ ưu tiên các vị tướng tay ngắn. Chính vì vậy chúng ta sẽ có một con AD vừa có chỉ số hiệu quả của một vị tướng tay ngắn mà lại vừa có tầm bắn xa của một xạ thủ tay dài, phải gọi là combo kết hợp với nhau cực kỳ tuyệt vời. Không nhất thiết phải là lắp kính nhắm kim cương, bởi vì chúng ta hoàn toàn có thể sử dụng tốt với lại lắp kính nhắm vàng. Dễ tính thêm một chút nữa thì lắp kính nhắm bạc cũng có thể sử dụng được. Ok, clip này đi thôi. Cảm ơn anh em vì đã xem.
Phần lớn các phi hành
This is the Elden Ring family tree. Queen Marika.
Tập tiếng này tôi do
1,000 balloons to lift the average person into the air. But how many would it take to lift your house? In the movie Up, the house is lifted with just 10,000 balloons. But that actually wouldn't work in real life. You see, a typical house weighs about 100,000 pounds, and each balloon can only hold about half of an ounce. Using that math, you would need just about 4 million balloons to lift a typical house. It would take about 5,000 balloons.
The fuck, cái skill thì quay cái nhạc này nhạc đéo nhỉ mẹ, trở lại tôi thấy nhiều ấy. The fuck, cho tôi ấy. Ồ, thôi kệ mẹ ơi, cứ biết cái nhạc này là cái nhạc gì đấy mà con mã trong cờ vua đi kiểu Hitler được rồi. The fuck, có 2 người xem trở lại rồi này, chào mọi người.
Section 4. You will hear part of a lecture about leadership introducing a theory called self-regulatory focus theory. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today, I want to talk about self-regulatory focus theory and how the actions of leaders can affect the way followers approach different situations. Self-regulatory focus theory is a theory developed by Torrey Higgins. He says that a person's focus at any given time is to either approach pleasure or avoid pain. These are two basic motivations that each and every one of us has, and they cause us to have different kinds of goals. Promotion goals in different life situations emphasize achievement. Prevention goals are oriented towards the avoidance of punishment. In a specific situation, our thoughts might focus more on promotion goals or more on prevention goals. The theory suggests that two factors affect which goals we are focusing on. First, there is a chronic factor. This factor is connected to a person's personality and says that each person has a basic tendency to either focus more on promotion goals or focus more on prevention goals as part of his or her personality. Second, there is a situational factor, which means that the context we are in can make us more likely to focus on one set of goals or the other. For example, we are more likely to be thinking about pleasure and to have promotion goals when we are spending time with a friend. In contrast, if we are working on an important project for our boss, we are more likely to try to avoid making mistakes and therefore have more prevention goals in our mind. Research has shown that the goals we are focusing on at a given time affect the way we think. For example, when focusing on promotion goals, people consider their ideal self, their aspirations and gains. They don't think about what they can lose, so they think in a happier mode. They feel more inspired to change. When people are focusing on prevention goals, they think about their ought self. What are they supposed to think? For example, when focusing on promotion goals, people consider their ideal self, their aspirations and gains. They don't think about what they can lose, so they think in a happier mode. They feel more inspired to change. When people are focusing on prevention goals, they think about their ought self. What are they supposed to be? What are people expecting from them? They consider their obligations to others. As a result, they experience more anxiety and try to avoid situations where they could lose. Now that I have talked about the two focuses and how they affect people, I want to look at the idea that the way leaders behave, or their style of leading, can affect the focus that followers adopt in a specific situation. In talking about leadership, we often mention transformational leaders and transactional leaders. Transformational leaders, when interacting with their followers, at the idea that the way leaders behave, or their style of leading, can affect the focus that followers adopt in a specific situation. In talking about leadership, we often mention transformational leaders and transactional leaders. Transformational leaders, when interacting with their followers, focus on their development. In their words and actions, transformational leaders highlight change. Their speech is passionate and conveys a definitive vision. All of these things can encourage followers to think about what could be. In other words, they inspire a promotion focus in their followers. In contrast, transactional leaders focus on developing clear structures that tell their followers exactly what is expected of them. While they do explain the rewards people will get for following orders, they emphasize more how a follower will be punished, or that a follower won't get rewarded if his or her behavior doesn't change. In short, they emphasize the consequences of making a mistake. This emphasis will clearly lead followers to focus on avoiding punishment and problems. This is clearly a prevention focus. In conclusion, it is important to understand that one focus is not necessarily better than the other one. For a designer who works in a field where a lot of innovation is needed. A promotion focus is probably better. In contrast, a prevention focus, which causes people to work more cautiously and produce higher quality work, might be very appropriate for a
What
job
the
like
fuck
a
is that
surgeon, for
wombat?
example. The main
Okay,
point of the research, though, is that the actions of leaders can greatly influence whether people approach a situation with more of a promotion focus or more of a prevention focus.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay.
That is the end of the listening test. In the IELTS test, you would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
CE cái này sẽ được gọi là what is this? Yeah. Soon be okay. Blah blah blah. In Joking with the red book. Very long speech. Oh, the on spotlight. Từ gì đấy? Okay. And a beyond time. Này là you ask for help. Qua đoạn này. Mời lý do bạn không đến nhà một trong speed. Wait. Trên răng dưới dài quá. Cái wombat, fuck cái sai cái wombat. Mẹ cay quá. Ok thôi kệ đi. Gì vậy? Thật ra tôi không định thay đổi được cỡ đâu. Tôi còn cô. Tôi share post này chưa? Từ Facebook rất là quan trọng ấy, mà tôi thực sự phải cân nhắc xem là mình share post nào chưa. Ok, share. Thêm cam lấy nhất và lời qua nay Quốc Tăng mà cũng like hả bạn? Mình không có vui chơi gì đâu. Còn mục tiêu học tập là chính thôi mà. Với cả mình không rõ, sao nhỉ? Cho mình biết là bọn chỗ trọng mất rồi đúng không? Kiểu vậy á. Đó, của ta thì là tổ chức chúng ta như nào? Ờ, thôi kệ đi, nói chung là mình không nỡ comment. Ok. Nhưng mà nói chung thì mục đích của mình ở đây nó là kiểu học tập là chính thôi chứ cũng không phải là stream chơi bời gì cả. Tôi sao? Ừm, Travel has existed since the beginning of time. Okay, when primitive men set out, or often traversing great distances in search of game, which provided the food and clothing necessary for his survival. Throughout the course of history, people have traveled for purposes of trade, religious conviction, economic gain, war, migration, and other equally compelling motivations. Tourism is a mass form as we know it today. is a distinctly 20th century phenomenon. Historians suggest that the advance of mass tourism began in England during the Industrial Revolution with the rise of the middle class and the availability of relatively inexpensive transportation. The creation of the commercial airline industry following the Second World War and the subsequent development of the jet aircraft in the 1950s signaled the rapid growth and expansion of international travel. Tourism today has grown significantly in both economic and social importance. Fuck, that one. How I shoot you in your face. What we need here. Come and say, how I shoot you in your face. Diversity and fragmentation could include hotels, motels, and other accommodations, restaurants and other food service, transportation services and facilities, amusement attractions, and other leisure facilities. Gift, gift shops, and a large number of other enterprises. Many of these businesses also serve local residents. The impact of spending by visitors can easily be overlooked or underestimated. In addition, they points out that the tourism industry involves concepts that have remained amorphous, amorphous to both analysts and decision makers. Moreover, in all nations, this problem has made it difficult for the industry to develop any type of reliable or credible tourism information base in order to estimate contribution it makes to regional, national, and global economy. Um, Once the exclusive province for the health of healthy. Oh, oh. Chết rồi. Arcade, arcade. Um, for example, tourism is a major source of similar. Um, for example, largest imply bigger in world. one of the largest segments of service industry, so largely unrecognized as an entity in some of this country, is one of the largest. Employment. Virtual tourism castle. Travel and tourism is the largest industry in the world of virtually any including value-added capital investment. In and 6%. Thấy nói người Úc hết. Thus, tourism has a profound impact both on the world economy and because of the educative effect of travel and the effect on employment on society itself. Society though. Social important. Thus là kiểu do đó user has a profound impact both on the world economy and on society itself. Vì lợi ích giáo dục và ảnh hưởng lên employment sẽ được phổ. True main feature which you make it true main feature of travel main feature to access it. The next two main feature là hai cái đặc điểm chính từ diversity, sự đa dạng, sự riêng lẻ chính nó. Lấy cái mình Greece. Hello. Travel and tourism industry in Jamaica is a major employer. Global Associated with Mandarin. Cứ suy được mấy tiếng rồi. Đã 1 tiếng rồi, có lười quá. Tuổi kết hôn trung bình ở Hồ Chí Minh vượt mốc 30. Vậy thì đến lượt tôi sẽ như nào? Làm bài đi, thắm lên. Work hard. Và nay không có ai xem stream hết đấy, buồn vậy. Kiểu mọi người thực sự vào comment phát xong mình biến mất luôn. Ok, description. Mô tả. The responsible. So, call red. The belief. The most captivating natural event here. Nhạc của Pentakill thực sự hay đi, không còn lại. Có từ bản ta. Before sleep go, treat pencil the shipment of renewable trick. đến cho cái
Bạn đang xem video chiếc bàn chải chơi nhạc của Billie Eilish.
Phây sao có duyên nợ phản tạp với bộ đội phải đạo Loku. Chả là trước đây Phây sao từng là nô lệ của người Morris. Người tấn quân đời trước giao trinh cứu và nhận nuôi là học trò và là con gái nuôi. Nhưng Phây sao đã mất người mẹ nuôi của mình chiến với người Morris khi mà bà hy sinh khi mũi tên của Lan bắn xuống. Cái sách dụng mũi tên của Lan đó thật ra đến từ Chu Xuân, và người đã đứng ra lãnh trách nhiệm cho việc đó là chính Dinh Doan. Trong chiến tranh đánh đổi là chuyện không thể tránh khỏi, nhưng tôi phải hỏi liệu Phây sao có để lòng nặng gánh khi đối mặt với vị đồng nghiệp không. Đội dũng sĩ không phải Basami. Thì con này tôi phải đi cười. Cuối tuần này ta lại có weekly Shonen Jump thôi, lúc 10 giờ đêm chủ nhật. Ai, cái làm bài rồi, được đó. The fucking dish, lại cái bài điện tử này, tao ghét vậy. The effect burial site. Rồi, 3000 kia. Derelict Plantation. Plantation. Okay. Bây giờ cho từ trong này bạn mình tìm xin đừng. Burial urn. Urn là cái gì? Burial urn. Thơm cát giờ. phone. Đừng là đừng. Orange. Không giải thích được. Quá ít thông tin về thời kỳ này. Đoạn 6 1 2 3 4 5 6.
They could sail out for days into the unknown, secure in the knowledge that if they can finally return
YouTube
about
Premium
plastic.
là trải nghiệm kết hợp của YouTube không quảng cáo và ứng dụng YouTube Music. Hai ứng dụng trong
Could have provided a safety net. Yo, chào chào bạn là Briup hay Một kia đi. Kết thúc đi. 36 rồi, 36 thành quả rồi. Hai câu forcing nó given. Fuck. Facing the sun mà đéo được á. Tinh tinh à? Nhìn phía mặt trời thì fuck Christ. Linh tinh ai đây? Mà ok. Rồi. Vậy thôi nhá. Buổi stream mình sẽ kết thúc tại đây bởi vì chán rồi. Bye bye các bạn. Chúc hẹn gặp mọi người trong các buổi stream kế tiếp. See ya.